Today, Fun with Flowers and Jay is brought to you by Brannan Street Wholesale Florist.
Welcome to the world of flowers. I'm Jay Schwanke. I've spent my entire life surrounded by flowers. As a fourth-generation florist, flowers have been a part of my daily life for as long as I can remember. Now I'm on a mission to share my knowledge and love of flowers with everyone I meet. Growing, picking, arranging, designing, and sharing. It's all fascinating to me because I love flowers. Anything flowers and everything flowers. Welcome to Fun with Flowers and Jay. You've probably wondered where your professional florist gets those amazing flowers you see in arrangements. Well, today on Fun with Flowers and Jay, we'll show you the secret to beautiful flowers, Brannan Street. I love going to Brannan Street in the San Francisco Flower Market because they have such a wide assortment of different flowers. For today's project, I called my friend Barbara at Brannan Street and I asked her to send me a box of the beautiful stuff that was available at Brannan Street. No holds barred, whatever she wanted to put in here. You can ask them for specific colors, you can ask them for specific varieties. They've got such a wide variety of flowers that come into their store every single day. Grown from all parts of California, the farmers bring those in the middle of the night, and they make selections based on what the most beautiful product is or what their customers might be trying to achieve. Giving them a color palette too also allows them to augment something that you might be creating. We had two great color palettes inside the box. I chose the cool color palette to make this bouquet today. You probably wonder where the professional florist comes up with all the different types of flowers that they have to offer in their stores. Brannan Street is the solution. As a wholesale distributor, they distribute flowers to the trade. And those are the beautiful flowers that you see in special events, weddings, special bouquets, and all the unusual things you might see when you go into a professional flower seller. So today, I wanted to take the great things that Barbara sent me and create this beautiful arrangement in blue and lavender hues. I soaked the floral foam in flower nutrient water so that there's food in the water and also in the foam. I stacked several pieces inside here so that I could get the bricks up above the lip of the container, about a ½ inch or so. I beveled the edges so it'll give me a nice smooth area to create this arrangement. And I'll be grouping the flowers in different areas. So we'll use different types of flowers throughout the entire bouquet. We'll start with our softer stemmed flowers first, while there's plenty of room in the foam. Hyacinth are the ones that I think about first of all, because those hyacinths have a soft stem. You'll notice a technique that I use. I'll take that flower and I'll push it in from the bottom of the stem, rather than trying to push it from the top. That would break the stem. So we just inch it into the foam. Next, I'll define the shape and form of the arrangement. That's going to be determined by this lilac branch because it's a bigger piece that I'm going to use. We're going to take that in all in one piece so that I keep it very natural looking. If I trim those pieces apart, it starts to get a more arranged look. And I want this to be more natural because we've got so many cool flower varieties that we're using. The stick looks great too. You can just have that hanging off the front of the container. We use a couple of the hydrangeas. I'm leaving them with a longer length. I like these too because there's 3 different ones. These little tendril pieces, those are going to be great. And one more. We'll bring it back here. You'll notice that sometimes I bring a flower in and I might look at where I want it to go and decide if it's better there or maybe on another side, but I'll sometimes try them out. The great thing about using floral foam is that I can adjust them and put them in a different place. say I get it in there and I don't like it, I can pop it out and take it over to another spot. The one thing that you always want to remember when you're dealing with floral foam is you always want to create a new hole if you change positions. The one thing you don't want to do is use the same hole. If you go back into the same hole, you can create a chamber of air between the end of the stem and the foam itself. Next, we'll add our iris. We're going to bring the iris out in here. These are going to be great because this blossom's going to open as well as those. Those iris all kind of have a similar natural curve to them. So we're grouping them together in one spot. Now you'll notice when I processed the Veronica, the ends of them started to curl around. And again, we bring them in a grouping and have all those going different directions. It seems kind of random and they don't make sense. I'm going to try and keep them together so that they're all heading in the same direction. So I'm taking notes of how those curves are lining up, and we're going to place those in a grouping together. I love this Tweedia. So we're going to do a section of this right in the center. And we'll do it kind of low towards the front of the bouquet. We'll group them in right around that stick. I like the way the Tweedia has a fuzzy stem. And that fuzzy stem looks great with the rest of the flowers. I love working with a color palette. I ask people many times if they have a signature style of flower arrangement. And the signature style of a flower arrangement generally is different for everyone. My signature, I think, is pretty flowers. I don't ever like to do anything to the flowers that would make them seem less natural. I talk about tortured flowers a lot, or twisted flowers that have been manipulated. I like it when flowers look natural, and I like it when they're pretty. Having a color palette that goes together, for example, this cool color palette, I start to be able to blend textures together with the colors. And I think it's more impressive because it creates impact for the arrangement in color. Then the texture starts to become the interesting nuance for the arrangement. I just like working in those broad strokes of color. I'm not a big fan of an arrangement that has white in it either. I like it when it's all very vibrant colors that are saturated, because I think it creates more drama and creates a stronger impact. White can dilute the color palette. And you'll notice that there's no white in this today. It's all of those cool shades that are moving back and forth. We're tucking those delphinium blossoms in towards the center of the bouquet. Because this is probably the most dominant color in our bouquet, I want to make sure that it's tucked towards the center. Delphinium grows kind of sporadically in fields. We had it when I was a little kid, the greenhouse. We just had an open field where we would grow them. So I think about the way the plant looks when I'm putting them into an arrangement. So we've got taller spikes in the center, and then the shorter spikes towards the outside. Use this one first, and we'll finish up with that one. Look, it's natural and it comes right to the edge of the container. So now we've got the passion line. I'm just going to strip that back and go in to our last area of foam. leaves those passion flowers right there at the front. The final step is to use Chrysal Professional Glory. It seals the molecular structure of the flowers, preventing them from evaporating water quickly off of their faces. It's definitely a different style of arrangement because it was inspired by the flowers. Seeing beautiful flowers like that makes me create an arrangement that's befitting them, looking at the way they might be growing towards the light or the idiosyncrasies of the stem itself. It's very natural. It's almost as if we've lifted a portion of the garden and placed it inside our container. It's a beautiful arrangement, and Brannan Street's a great resource. I think Barbara and I make a pretty good team. She picked out beautiful flowers, and I was able to create them into a beautiful arrangement. Until next week, keep having fun with flowers.